Hello and welcome, I'm your Code Monkey. The asset store is full of awesome tools and assets to help you make your own games. There's more and more awesome stuff coming out every month, so in this video let's check out some highlights for June 24. This one is a list of paid systems and tools. In the last video I already covered the best free new assets, and next one I'll be covering top visuals and effects. As always, there's links to the asset in the description, and as a bonus you can use the coupon CodeMonkey10 to get 10% off your order. And Unity is also running a nice sale right now. There's a bunch of assets at $35, so for some of these that means that's a pretty deep discount. Here's a tool for motion matching animation. You can make some really awesome mechs with this Synthi pack. Maybe pick up this one if you're working on a cute game. Maybe this huge pack with 900 low poly weapons. Or this one with a mountain of customizable characters. You can even watch my character customization tutorial. Or this parkour and climbing system. Or this really awesome looking alien environment. Maybe get this nice low poly monster bundle. Or a really interesting traffic control system. It says here you can get an extra 10% off with this coupon. So based on the name, I'm guessing this sale is ending this June, so there's only a few days left, so if you're interested, definitely get it quickly. Oh, and there's also a humble bundle with a mountain of realistic stuff. Some of these are in real assets and some are Unity. These all have a really nice realistic style. You've got towns, islands, there's a Viking village, a really nice war camp, a bunch of characters, some kind of modular temple, there's tons of props, items, and so on. Check it out with a link in the description. Alright, so starting off with an interesting tool that combines splines and decals. So usually there are tools that use splines to generate meshes, but this one is different. It uses splines in order to place some decals. Decals, in case you don't know, is basically just projecting an image onto an existing geometry. So for example, that means you can use this to place some dirt directly on top of your road mesh. You can place some dirt or for example some road lines. You can also draw some footprints on top of some kind of sandy environment. And of course it's only using the spline tool, which makes it really easy to position it exactly where you want it. You can make straight lines, make curves, all kinds of things. So it's a really great combination of two great tools, splines and decals. Next, here's a really awesome outline tool. Now, there are actually tons of these, but those usually do it the super simple way, which really just scales up the model. That approach works, but usually leaves lots of gaps in the corners. Whereas on this one, this asset does not have that issue. The outline is really perfect all around the model, even on some harsh corners. It looks really great on pretty much any kind of object. So if you use an outline effect in your game and you want them to be super high quality, then definitely look at this one. Then here's a super useful tool called Mesh Extractor. I'm pretty sure I covered version 1.0 of this tool in this video series many years ago, so version 2 is out right now. This tool does exactly what it says. It helps you extract a mesh from another mesh. So for example, if you have a model with a lamp tied to a pole, you can just extract just the lamp. If you have a box of apples, you can just grab a single apple. So this is one of those helper tools that is actually really useful in many use cases where the assets that you want to use aren't 100% exactly what you need. Maybe you just need some part of it. If you look at the many assets that you already own, you will probably see how you already have tons of stuff, although some of it might be merged into one mesh with multiple objects. So with this, you can just extract some piece from it. Then for a nice UI tool, here is a great looking soft mask. The built-in mask that Unity has is only a harsh mask, so it's only on or off, there's no fade. So this tool helps you add that. You can add a mask texture and then easily play around with the mask opacity and fall off. You can also stack masks one on top of another, so you can make some really interesting effects, and it also supports some text. All in all, a really useful, really neat tool for your UI. It gives you quite a lot more control, allowing you to make some really interesting UIs. Next, if you get frustrated with clicking on scene view and picking the wrong object, if so, then look at this tool. Usually what happens is when clicking on an object, it selects the LOD instead of the parent object itself. That can be quite annoying. So this tool helps minimize that problem by helping you select the object you likely wanted to select. It has a bunch of rules, like selecting the LOD group instead of individual LODs. It can ignore the UI and terrain objects and so on. And you can also customize it in terms of colors. So really nice tool if you're frustrated with object selection. This is one of those tools that can definitely help speed up level design by quite a lot. Then here's another really simple but potentially very useful tool called Scene Notes. It does exactly what it says. It lets you place objects in your scene and add some notes to them. This can be really useful for doing things like a list of tasks that you still need to do. If they are related to something like level design, it can be better to add a note in the world space itself instead of adding for some kind of task list. You can add notes to remind yourself of various things, like why you added a certain house on a certain place. Maybe also a note to display the position that triggers some kind of boss fight. So plenty of use cases. The notes can have both a short title and a longer description. You can create categories to organize your notes, and then you can even tag them as start or completed. All in all, really nice, simple tool. Or perhaps you're making something with cameras or photos. If so, here is a tool to help you get hand and figure tracking. Definitely a niche tool, but if you need this, then this looks to be extremely accurate. You can create some actual 3D meshes for the hands with the correct position in 3D space, or you can just use some basic standard 2D hand shapes. This works with a webcam livestream, or it can also work with a simple video or some photos. You just feed that onto the algorithm and generates the actual hand mesh. So this could be really great for making some interesting, very different games. Maybe play around with a Kinect or something like that. Or you could also make some non-game apps. You can use hand shapes to do all kinds of things. For example, you could create some kind of home automation, then set up a camera pointing somewhere, and instead of using your voice to control your home, you could use some hand signals. Or perhaps use it to define some Naruto hand signs. So lots of interesting, unique ideas to be used with this one. This is the Windows version, and they also have versions for all other platforms. Next, here's another asset that I'm pretty sure I covered the original version before in this series. It's Diable Terrain 2D. This one is version 2.0. It does exactly what it says. It helps you dig 2D terrains. Right away, it reminds me of playing Worms as a kid. Destroying the terrain in those games was always a lot of fun. Basically just dig down and call an airstrike. That was always fun. If you'd like to make a game kind of like Worms, if so, then this asset would be a really great starting point. You can dig anywhere you want in the terrain, any shape you want. You can dig holes or cut off massive amounts. You can also add physics to the remaining parts, so if you cut off something from everything else, it will fall down. And the terrain, of course, can have whatever visual you want. So you can dig through dirt, rock, grass, or really anything. Next, if you're working on a 2D combat game, look at this hit system. It basically helps you easily place and set up hitboxes, specifically how to combine hitbox shapes at various animation points. Handling hitboxes is always a really tricky thing in games. You want the hit to only connect if the weapon or the fist or something like that, if that one actually touches the enemy, so not just in general. And of course, you also want it to do only on certain parts of the animation, like when actually striking and not when, for example, pulling the fist back. So doing all that can be quite tricky, so a tool like this one can really help you out. You can define various hitboxes to define when on the animation they show up. So maybe, for example, you have a small hitbox at animation time of something like 0.3, and then a large hitbox at 0.4 until 0.8, something like that. Then depending on hit or miss, you can spawn some really nice particle effects. Or if you're working in 3D and you want to build an entire world, then look at this tool. It's a node-based world creator. So instead of manually building the terrain piece by piece and setting up all the textures, instead of that, you use a node-based workflow where each node defines the logic for generating the entire world. Naturally, since it is based on logic, it means that you can easily generate super huge worlds. Basically just keeps reusing the same logic to generate more and more. And it also works with live editing, meaning as you modify the nodes, you can see the results in real time. Alright, so those are my top 10 new tools and systems on the Unity Asset Store for June 24. There's links to all in the description, and as a bonus you can use the coupon code monkey10 to get 10% off your order. Alright, hope that's useful. Check out these videos to learn some more. Thanks to these awesome Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.